Hey, welcome to the show. Daver here.
What up? This guy's Chad.
And Chandler's back as well. How we doing, Dave?
We're doing pretty darn good. Another good episode of Dynamite. Definitely didn't let me down. I top to bottom. They had to fit a lot in. Kept my attention, and it really flew by. A lot of story progression too. How do you two feel about it?
Lots of good matches, I would say. A lot of talent were performing well. Like specifically, I really liked Toni Storm's performance, even though she wasn't wrestling. The main event was stellar. And then Mark Briscoe and Jay White always are fun together. And then, of course, there was one terrible segment, but I love terrible as much as I love good. So, of course, this is one of the best episodes of Dynamite I've ever seen. What do you think, Chad?
Yeah, I loved it. It passed the phone test, which I only pulled out my phone during that one segment. But yeah, these ones that have the 6 matches in them, they just fly by. It's just bang, bang, bang. Could have used maybe a little redistribution of that time in that one annoying segment to maybe get a little more story progression out of it. So the one thing I kind of miss about the WWE a little when I watched that was definitely more storylines, more progression, more than just like the A story. So, but I mean, the matches as always are just mind blowing. So, all in all, good show. Dave, how did the show start?
Well, we were privileged enough to get Samoa Joe coming out right off the bat. He says, Texans, my name is Samoa Joe. I have come here tonight looking for answers. Not a long time ago, I made a promise to one MJF that I would keep him whole until world's end, where I would dismantle him personally and become your rightful AEW World Champion. But last week, I was made into a liar. Then he goes on to accuse Adam Page of taking out MJF because of the specific brand of beer shattered over MJF. And he noticed a lingering scent of Stetson and disappointment. Yeah, he searched high and low, but the Hangman was missing. Adam Page comes out, uh, looking pretty mad. He wanted Samoa Joe to just come out and accuse him. Joe said he's not there to play whodunit. He already made up his mind, and he's the executioner. Out comes Roderick Strong with Samoa,
Joe,
Samoa.
Joe.
He tells Samoa Joe to listen to Hangman. He reminds everyone that Hangman was his young boy in Ring of Honor. Says MJF is the devil, and Adam Page ends up attacking Roderick Strong. Roddy gets out of the ring, comes back, attacks Hangman, and the match starts. It's kind of cool. They have history from Ring of Honor, working together for a long time. They teamed together and they were against each other. We get Hangman chopping Roderick Strong with his shirt pulled over his head. Crowd definitely into Roderick Strong. We got the neck strong chants going on. Roderick Strong gives Adam Page a backbreaker for a 2 count, then drives his knees into Adam Page's back over and over. Man, Roderick Strong looks great. I'll tell you what. Roderick Strong does a backbreaker to Adam Page on the top turnbuckle. We get a real nice pop-up power bomb to Roderick Strong for a 2 count. Hangman stares down a sign in the crowd. I don't know if you two noticed that. With Swerve on it, it said "He who hung the hangman," and yeah, really cool looking sign. Roderick Strong does a Tiger Driver to Hangman, uh, and then directly into a Boston Crab, also known as the Stronghold. The Kingdom try to get involved, but Hangman does a moonsault on them both on the outside. Hangman goes for a buckshot lariat, but Roderick Strong goes for the Stronghold again. But then Hangman rolls up Roddy for a 2 count. Uh, then we end up getting a dead eye to Roderick Strong from Hangman for the win. I feel like it ended a little abrupt. I don't know. Kind of got that feeling. But nonetheless, I'm a big Roderick Strong fan now. I've been into Adam Page from day one of AEW. Uh, Nothing but good things to say for me about this match. How about you, Chandler?
Oh yeah, I mean this whole kind of opening was pretty entertaining. I literally had in my note, it's been 20 seconds and there's Samoa Joe on my screen. You could start this off in a worse way, but the whole opening promo was great. And then Roderick Strong came out and he started explaining why MJF is the devil. And not gonna lie, every time someone brings up MJF being the devil, my brain kind of turns off because I'm like, there's no way. That's a stupid, like Vince is the higher power kind of dumb angle. But the way Roderick was laying everything out, I was just kind of like, huh, you know what? And it's one of those words like, if this is just a red herring, that's cool. I'm fine with that. Um, and then the match, of course, was stellar. Seeing Hangman Page and Roddy Strong, not a match I've ever seen before, but it was really good. But what did I have in my notes? There was next strong chance, so that's getting over. How long until Roderick's is a baby face? And then they were chopping each other like crazy. Those were so loud, and like the crowd was a very ooey crowd today, where they weren't like cheering or like going crazy. They were just like ooh the whole time. So I enjoyed it. And then Hangman winning was always kind of like what I thought was going to happen, but it wasn't bad. What did you think, Chad?
Oh yeah, I found them getting from the promo into the match kind of felt a little clunky. Usually, I kind of like how they do that transition, but it just kind of felt off to me. But the match itself was good, not great. I feel like they had maybe a little bit of chemistry issues. I think maybe with some more reps, those two could just have a bang, or maybe they're holding some stuff back. Maybe they'll run it back at the pay-per-view or something. But all in all, it was a good way to, get engaged and get into the opener. But yeah, like I think it could have been better, and who knows, maybe they, like I said, they're just holding stuff back. I don't know. What do you think about it, Dave?
I'm totally into it. Uh, every time I see Roderick Strong wrestle now, I become a bigger fan. Uh, the Backbreaker King, man, he's aggressive, uh, violent, uh, and he can play mind games apparently too, which you can can't go wrong there. Yeah, Hangman also, he's a lot of people might say he's the main character of AEW uh, in a lot of ways, especially back maybe a year or two ago. Uh, but yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Hangman's been, I mean, he was
Um,
awesome in the Swerve feud, but he's been awesome, especially since that Full Gear match. Like every time we've seen him, it's felt important, and he's not here to mess around and have fun or, do stuff with the elite, which I know is kind of like not around anymore. But it doesn't feel like it's elite nonsense. It's I'm here to get some stuff done, which I like that a lot.
Yeah. This iteration of him is with just the black
yeah,
clothes and the wet, slicked back hair. It feels like a new chapter for him. Like, or I don't know, an evolution from millennial cowboy to whatever kind of badass he just turned into. Because yeah, that's kind of very interesting to me. I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, yeah. Time will tell. But yeah, we'll see a little bit more of Hangman later on. But next, we've got a Continental Classic Blue League match. One I was definitely looking forward to. They kind of added it late, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, I had no idea about this until the show. So I'm not saying they didn't announce it beforehand, but they didn't announce it on Collision.
I think they announced it on Twitter the day of.
Probably.
But yeah, wow, I'm glad they did. We got Brody King with a total of 6 points versus Andrade with 6 points also. CJ Perry came out with, or Andrade came out with CJ Perry uh, wearing a skin tight black jumpsuit. That's all I'll say about that. Uh, Andrade, he's been doing this thing where he just gets in a brutal headlock from the get-go. He did this with who did he wrestle last
Brian
in the classic?
Brian Danielson.
Danielson. He got him in that headlock and had it on for like a minute, maybe two. And he did the same thing. I really like that. Got it locked in, a lot of pressure on the head. Brody King did a back body drop to Andrade, but he held on to the headlock. Eventually, they get up and they chop the living crap out of each other. Just sweat flying, meat slapping, loud. Really got the crowd fired up. We got Andrade cross-bodying Brody Lee for a 1 count. Brody Lee rolled out of the ring, but Andrade does a moonsault off the middle turnbuckle on the outside onto Brody King. Freaking work of art. Brody King chops Andrade off the top rope onto the outside. More very loud chops. Uh, Brody King. Did I say Brody Lee at one point?
I think
I
so.
think I
Yeah.
did.
Well, that's fine.
Sorry, bud.
Rest in peace, sir.
Brody King. Yep, RIP. Brody King goes for a cannonball, but Andrade drop kicks Brody King's leg as he's charging. Andrade gives Brody King 2 dragon screws. And then Andrade flexes, and he did put on a lot of muscle. Uh,
He's
I'd like to
huge.
actually go back. Yeah, I'd like to go back and kind of maybe watch a match or two, like from each little era up until now. Like when he was a high flying luchador, I want to watch NXT and
Ooh,
the progression.
Even NXT, he wasn't that yoked. So this is
no.
probably in that off time between when
Yeah,
he first came in AEW and he had that little fight with Guevara and then Collision. So it's in between all this that he got swole, but he looks fabulous. I never thought I'd be this into Andrade like back in WWE because I didn't know him from NXT, but looks like you want to throw in something, Chad.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you're gonna go back and watch a match from NXT, him versus Johnny Gargano. Holy crap!
Wasn't that now? I know Dave Meltzer's ratings don't matter, but that was like the first 5-star match in WWE since like 2011, and it was like 2018. So ended a big drought for them.
Oh yeah, not surprising. I mean, that was right around the time where they were just having banger after banger on NXT. Like a lot of them involved Gargano too. Him and doing the DIY thing. They had that credible one with FTR. Yeah, lots of good stuff to mine. But definitely, if you're going back, I recommend that one.
cool. I'll remember that. After that, we get Andrade body slams Brody King and does a split-legged moonsault for a 2 count. Crowd got fired up again. Big lariat to Andrade from Brody King for a 2 count. Then Brody King connects with his cannonball in the corner finally for 2. More loud chopping, sweat flying. We get a back elbow to Brody King, but Andrade doesn't cover him. He goes to the turnbuckle, and both men struggle to gain control. And Andrade drives Brody's head into the exposed turnbuckle cable. Comes down, does the El Idolo for the win. Playing a little dirty, kinda. He, with Danielson, he also played a little dirty with that eye gouging and all that shenanigans. So I don't know how much uh effort they're putting in his character, if he's about to leave, but yeah,
He's
I don't
doing
know.
whatever it takes to win, which I kind of like Moxley too. So I kind of like that. I really liked this match. I think like right after I watched it, I was like, why would Andrade win this? And now that I'm kind of thinking about this, I'm like, this entire tournament isn't just about the winner, it's about who the winner beats on their way. So I think Andrade isn't going to make it to the the finals at World's End, but I think he'll be that really nice final boss for the Blue League. Like it's going to be Andrade and Kingston on his comeback tour, or Danielson overcoming his injuries, or King trying to come back and be a monster. So that's what I think they're going with. I don't think Andrade's going to win it all. So after that, and plus it was a pretty unique way. I've never seen a DDT onto the cable of it and then him get the win. And my gosh, I mean, like I said, the chops with the Roddy match were great. The chops in this match were great too. Just a lot of good chops all around. I had this like thought, this intrusive thought that I kind of just would like wish they did to like slightly tweak the CC overall. So I wanted to like see what you guys thought. So during the match, they mentioned something called the Royal Rampage. I don't know what that is. I assume it was a battle royale. Um, but what they should have done is they should have done like qualification matches to get into the Continental Classic, because that would have been a whole month of TV. And you could have been like, all right, we're going to have a whole tournament on Ring of Honor, and one Ring of Honor person's getting into the CC, and that's Ring of Honor TV for a month. You could do, we're going to have a battle royal on Rampage. It's going to be the overlooked people, and maybe that's how Garcia would get in. And then you just have like, this is going to be a qualification match, qualification match, qualification match. Like, those stuff are cool, like qualification matches. Sorry, I'm going to bring up WWE to get into the Rumble or Money in the Bank are good because they add drama into it. They've put in work to get there. Whereas with this, we found out 2/3 of the participants on the day of. So hopefully next year they plan it out a little bit more. And they're like, okay, we know it's getting to October. Maybe we have a few qualifying matches, but that all aside, great match, and I'm actually really glad Andrade won. What do you think, Chad?
Yeah. So going into this tournament, I thought that Andrade would kind of occupy a similar space to as Briscoe, which is the really good hand that is probably going to win a couple matches and be a challenge. I did not see him beating Brody King. That was a surprise. Very good one. I'm kind of becoming a Blue League stan, just because I think the stories and how it's playing out is like super interesting. Um, Man, Andrade did this like fake the pump kick and then went into the his spinning back fist. Wow, that was just beautiful. I'm sorry, Jericho, but I think you need to retire your finisher. These two people do that move way better.
One of them's a young
Jackson.
buck. Yeah. One of them's a buck.
Yeah. Actually, 3 now. Kingston too. Kingston's was pretty sweet too.
Kingston's look, whenever I see it, I'm always like, oh, that's a mean blow. Like, I don't want to take that. with Jericho, it's like, meh, I'm gonna glaze you.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's wow. Yeah, that win took me out of left field. I was just like, oh yeah, like he's gonna kick out, then he like Brody King's gonna. Oh no, he lost. Damn.
One thing I kind of wanted to bring up, and like this isn't me being negative, I just like something I remembered and wanted to know what you guys thought. When Andrade was first announced for it, it was announced that like CJ Perry got him into it and he was mad. And then CJ whispered something into his ear and that made him do it. So now he's doing so well. So now I'm like a little intrigued. Like, why is someone who didn't want to do this tournament in the first place doing so well? Like, what did she whisper into his ear? Please don't forget about that, Tony Khan. Please. I want to
Oh,
know.
I forgot about that.
But like, don't like. I'm not nitpicking here. It is a genuine question. Like, what changed? What did she say? And I hope we get to know.
Ooh, good point.
Yeah, true. But yeah, after that, we get Renee Paquette backstage with the Von Erichs. Good to see them in AEW. Oh, Chandler.
It
Okay,
was a
okay.
letdown. I don't. That's not about the Von Erichs. That was about the segment. We were talking too much about it. We were hyped up too much. But what happened? What happened?
Okay. They're glad to be there, blah, blah, blah. Orange Cassidy walks up. He asks them to team up with him on Rampage. Danhausen and Trent are kind of like, oh, we're right here, man.
Betrayal.
But yeah. But yeah, they're gonna team up on Rampage. Yeah, what do you think about it, Chandler?
We were talking about Christian coming out and just staring at them, and we would have had content for weeks. But this is just, oh hey, we're gonna be on Rampage. Like, is OC just the king of Rampage now? Is that what it is? So I don't know. It's just, I think we just got ourselves too hyped up for it. But it wasn't bad. It was just like, oh hey, we're the Von Erichs. Oh hey, we're gonna team up with them. And then I did like how Orange Cassidy was like, but it's Texas. And then Danhausen and Trent were like, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, we get it. We get it. So it wasn't bad. It was just not what I wanted.
Yeah, I was hoping
I
to
mean,
get them a little more featured, and now I have to try to watch Rampage. I
Well,
probably won't.
have you heard about the main event of this week's Rampage?
No.
So it's the Top Flight and Action Andretta versus
Uh,
Penta Commander Vikingo. And apparently it's quote insane main event and had multiple standing ovations and this is awesome and holy poo and all those crazy chants. So apparently it's an all-timer match to watch. So
oh boy,
yeah.
now I got to try to cram that into my week.
supposedly.
I mean, I can believe that. I can totally believe it. Uh, yeah, like what that group of people do is an art. They're there to perform and make the crowd do what you say they did. Uh, yeah, cool. I'll have to check that out. Uh, remember, Chad, the days when like you'd hear about like an main event on Dark was like that? We're like, all right,
Yeah.
we gotta check it out. uh, cool. Uh, but yeah, after that, we get a Jericho and Kenny segment.
Skip.
Best of the year. Best promo since Suffer and Succotash. What do I tell you? What do I tell you?
Yeah. Okay, we get Jericho and Kenny come out to the ring. Jericho calls out Ricky and Big Bill. They ask Kenny Omega if he trusts Jericho. Kenny says, of course he doesn't trust Jericho. Kenny brings up the firm and says no one remembers it, calls them flaccid and soft. Um, Kenny challenges them for World's End. Uh, accidentally says Winnipeg Jets instead of Golden Jets. Ricky reminds Chris that he beat him twice. Jericho tries to come up with clever nicknames for their tag team.
Oh, did he?
Oh my god, the names were so bad. Big Billy Starks.
What? You don't
Oh.
think they're gonna come out as Big Billy Starks next week?
Jericho calls Ricky a better dressed, less charismatic Enzo Amore. This is where things devolved. Uh, um, even Ricky Starks had to kind of like pull it back together at that point. He came back with a fiery, real promo, a good comeback, so much better than what we just heard from the old Winnipeg guys. Chad, sorry, man. uh, yeah, Kenny and Jericho's part of this was bad. Please, no more. Let them lose. Get them out of here. I
Well,
need,
the
I need
Winnipeg Jets, I
solo
mean the
Kenny.
Golden Jets are gonna win the titles. So what are you talking about? Chris Jericho, I
Not
mean
anymore.
Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, they'll win.
Did you say crust?
Yeah, because that's what Kenny said. He was like, I wouldn't trust, I wouldn't trust like I
Crust Jericho.
was writing this down. I have like half a page about this in my notes. I was eating this shit up so much. The fact that he was like, I don't trust Jericho. Well, why do you team with him? Like, what? That makes
Yeah.
no sense. And then Jericho is like, you call me a
Ooh.
clout vampire. If I were a clout vampire, I'd latch my wagon on someone with more cred than you, Ricky Starks. And I was like, that's what you're doing
No.
right now.
He said I would suck my fangs into someone. That doesn't even make sense.
But anyways, he was saying he would pick someone more big, like bigger than Ricky Starks, and he did. That's why he's with Kenny Omega right now. So I was just like, why would you say that? So I wrote down like sometimes scripts are good. Like I hate being the guy who's coming in here and saying Vince McMahon was right sometimes, but guess what? He's right sometimes because you can't just have these guys go out there and call it from the hip because you get segments like that. And then when he was like Big Billy Starks, and I was like, so Billy Starks is a joke now? She's probably going to main event the Ring of Honor pay per view, and your half of your main event is a joke and a bad one at that. And I loved it. And then so Kenny referenced Enzo and Cass from WWE, and then Jericho
Oh
referenced it
yeah.
like 2 minutes later. So it's like, why are you both doing the same references? Oh my like.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to be like kind to this, and I was like, where is this? Like, maybe I'm being baited here. Maybe Chris is gonna turn on Kenny. Then I was like, well, I don't want a Kenny Chris feud. I think the only way you could get out of this with me liking it is you have Kenny like in the match with the for the tag titles. Kenny just turns on Chris and like kills him, like makes it uncomfortable. Like not only kills him, but like in kayfabe injures him and sends him away for a while, and we get new evil Kenny, like something like that. I don't know. Like I'm just spitballing here because I think it's just going to be Chris Jericho pins Ricky Starks for the title, and I don't really want that. What do you think, Chad?
Okay, so you've got Kenny by God Omega, Chris freaking Jericho, Ricky, even Bill. All dudes have been amazing on the mic recently. And this is what we got. Like, you guys are trying to talk me into spending $50 for a pay per view that I should want to watch. I don't give a shit about this. Sorry. Just the Bucks should have beat them. They should have disbanded. They originally, their mission statement was, we're here for Callis, we're not here for the titles, and then we're going to go our separate ways. And now here we are a couple months later.
But they just teamed so well together. Didn't you feel the chemistry when they were talking over each other awkwardly? And then how about Kenny Omega's end where he was like, adieu, adieu,
Yeah.
mwah, 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 bang, 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 bang. And then he stopped for like 10 seconds. He's like, okay, you can play the music. And then the music starts and Jericho's like, and round 10 on December 30th. Make sure. Oh my, like, I know you guys are mad, but I love garbage as much as I love good shit stuff. So I love this so much. Like,
But we wouldn't have gotten Kenny's dance though. That dance was dope.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't. I didn't even notice. I gotta go back and watch that.
So you guys want to know the
Oh,
two main theories into why Kenny Omega was like that on Dynamite?
Hit me.
yeah.
Hit me.
He's disinterested or he was high. So those are your two big theories.
I could have been both.
He was straight edge though.
People were obviously joking about that one, but it's like he seemed fucking flippin' baked.
Yeah, yeah, he
34
did.
minutes in, maybe, I think.
He
I don't know if
did.
you want to bleep that, but so I like our co-host today.
Right? Who
They're
has-
Yeah.
they're a better tag team than the Winnipeg. I mean Golden Jets.
If you besmirch Winnipeg one more time,
I have nothing wrong with Winnipeg. I just wish the
See,
people
Thorne's
won.
mad.
I'm from Winnipeg and I actually besmirch it all the time.
Yeah, I can't wait for next
Whoa.
week. I can't wait for next week.
But yeah, everyone out there in YouTube world, uh, give us a comment. How did you feel about the Kenny Omega Chris Jericho shenanigans promo? Uh, yeah, yeah. Do you think they need to end that? And I got dogs growling. Uh,
They're
yeah,
they're
they're playing.
they're mad about us besmirching the Golden Jets. Those are the two biggest
I
Golden
think
Jet
they
fans out
are.
there.
They are. They've been to Canada so many times.
You know what? I will
I
say, I loved, like, unironically loved the next segment. So what happened next?
All right. Next up, we were absolutely privileged to get timeless Tony Storm on commentary for the Ruby Soho and Rio match. Uh, yeah, absolutely great to have her. Uh, not bad to have Mariah May involved also. Poor Luther, a little bit of the gout going on, poor guy. But yeah, it was good to see Riho, AEW's first women's world champion. We get Riho stomping Ruby in the corner, but Ruby, let's see, just got in position. We got the Saito suplex to Riho. Tony Storm, Tony Storm close-ups were too good. Her awkward, funny black and white. Like what? Yeah, she's taking it to a new level now. Funny AF. We get a really nice crucifix bomb to Ruby Soho for a 2 count. Then we get Ruby hitting No Future for a 2 count. Riho ends up pulling off a Northern Light suplex for 2, then a Dragon suplex, and Riho wins with the double knees to Ruby's face. Pretty quick match. Definitely not a banger in my mind, but yeah, Riho really packs the punch for being so tiny. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel bad for Ruby Soho. She just doesn't win
She does on
ever.
Rampage.
Okay. All right. All
Well,
right.
I'm sure she's got to win something. I saw her record; it was like 30 and something, and like 30 something to 30 something. So she's won a lot, just not on Dynamite or anywhere we see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
Um. Yeah. Mediocre match. Tony Storm actually made it so much better.
yeah, I was.
Uh,
This was my first Riho match, so I wanted to watch it and be like, "Oh, what's she about?" And then I just started writing down Tony Storm's commentary because I thought it was so funny. And then as they went to picture in picture, they were like, "Ah, we're not rolling. Let's mess around." And so Taz and her were just like chit chatting, and there was a bit where like Ruby was on top of Riho and was like punching her, and then Tony just goes round and pound. Kudos to the wrestling. Look at the wrestling. And then Taz is like, Tony, if I may, could you please give me a read on this? And she went, oh, of course. And then she just went like, it's Sting. And then Taz was like, wow, you've already got Tony out of a job. Like it was so good. And then I loved how like they went back to the show and she just went, Mr. Khan, I'm ready for my close up. And then it just panned in on her and zoomed. I was like, what are they doing? I didn't know they could do this. So I again, and then like for the match itself, it was fine. I feel like every time I've seen a Ruby Soho match, it's been pretty bad. And this was the first time where I was like, you know what, it wasn't bad. So I think I have a bit of a better feeling than most, but I also get it was only 8 minutes. Most of it was during the commercial break, but I wasn't really watching the match during the commercial break. I was laughing and writing notes about the commentary. So Tony Storm and Taz really saved this match for what it was. And I am looking forward to the match. What did you think, Chad?
It's nice to see Riho back. I like the change up in gear. She definitely looks a little more serious now.
yeah.
I just wrote down about Riho, tiny but fierce. Yeah, quote from one of my favorite books. Um, yeah, it was just like you said. It was good, but definitely Tony there and commentary and the good vibes from all that was definitely kind of what held the whole segment together. Dave, what do you think?
How about how Tony Storm swore up and down that it wasn't Ruby Soho
That's
Because
because
Ruby's
she
hilarious.
didn't
hair,
have green hair?
yeah, that was what I first wrote down. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. She's like, well, that's not Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho has green hair. And like Tony Schiavone was like, well, people can change their hair colors. And she was like, no, 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 no. So like
No, 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 no.
I get that some people want more serious stuff, and this is borderline goofy sometimes, but I think they're just like playing it straight, and Tony Storm is delivering it so well. I can't help but love this. I can't help it.
Yeah, real good stuff. Um, after that, we get a Wardlow video package. He says, since my return, I've been preparing for war, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Uh, I left a path of pure mayhem behind me. He said he's destroying every single person in his way. Like the Archangel Michael, he will bring the devil to his knees. MJF, your world is coming to an end. Yeah, totally part of the Devil Dumpling Gang. A little later on in the show, I definitely picked him out of some type of ruckus we'll get to. Uh,
I did write
but
down
yeah,
like, what are
uh,
we doing here? Because I am on the train that MJF is injured, so he needs to lose his belt as soon as possible. But I don't think that's going to happen because if anything, they've added another person to the title picture with Hangman. So I don't know. This is one where like I feel like it's getting a little shaky, but we'll see.
yeah,
Let it play out.
um,
Chandler's favorite
let
line.
it play.
I've been doing that since April of this year. I'll be doing it for the rest of my life. Just keep letting it play out.
True. Um, Cool. After that, we get another Continental Classic match. It was cool having a Blue League match with the Brody King Andrade match on Dynamite. Now we're back to the old Gold League. Roosh with 6 points versus Jay Lethal with nada. Yeah, I think you all know how I feel about Roosh. Big fan. One of my favorite up and coming future main eventers on television right now. Uh, both men started off really strong. Uh, love the cartwheel evading and the little cartwheel stuff Jay Lethal does. We get a Fargo strut from Jay Lethal. We get Roosh slamming Jay Lethal in the barricades on the outside. We get some really loud chops to Jay Lethal, back and forth. We get the patented fake kick, or fake the bull's horns, kick in the face, and then the pose in the ring from Roosh. Then we get a lethal combination. Jay Lethal goes for the figure four, but Roosh rolls him up with an inside cradle. Then we got Jay Lethal going for a lethal injection, but Roosh gets him in a sleeper hold uh, slash chokehold. Lethal ends up tapping. Uh, Man, he looked dejected when he got up to the ramp. Uh, I think we might get a face turn out of this tournament for Jay Lethal at this point from that. And yeah, good match. Roosh definitely, I think, was meant to win that match. It went how it should. How do you feel about it, Chad?
Oh yeah, like Roosh is amazing. You know, Lethal's there is the pin eater. Uh, I don't know. Is it gonna come down to very last match for Lethal and Briscoe, the 0-0 tie, to see who picks up some points?
Yeah,
Uh,
they discussed all of the matches for not only Collision but Dynamite too. So that next week is Briscoe Lethal. So it'll
okay.
be who can get any points on the board.
Yeah, no, it was cool that Roosh used the sleeper because that's what he lost to against Mox. So I don't know if that was a shout out or a sign of things to come, but yeah, no, it was good. Like you say, it's cool. Great to see Roosh just get more of that spotlight. Yeah, is Lethal going to separate from Ain't He Great? Just Double J Jeff Jarrett and the weirdos.
He kind of like,
Probably.
they went to pat him on the back and he kind of, pulled away a little. Yeah, man.
Is he
That's what I'm
gonna?
feeling.
Are we
He
gonna get
didn't.
some black machismo?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that an
Oh,
old gimmick?
yeah.
Is that an old
Oh
gimmick?
yeah, it was
Oh, he
his.
did the Macho Man better than the Macho Man. Yeah,
Interesting.
TNA. Oh, yeah. Please YouTube some of that when you get a chance.
That's
Uh,
funny.
that was when Hulk Hogan was in TNA, and he's done interviews where he's like, "Yeah, it was like being in the room with him, brother." Like, yeah, he's so good.
That is
Yeah,
so
you got to check it
funny.
out. And
So
then you know about the woo off, right?
I do. I know that he was like Ric Flair light for a bit. I know, and I've seen it where Ric Flair's like all red in the face. Like it's, I don't find it that funny, but it's like funny to laugh at. It's like it's just different time, different
I
time.
want to say
I
Chris.
popped.
He does a interview with Chris Van Fleet where he describes what led up to that moment, and that story was actually makes the woo off way more funny.
I'll have to
Because
find that.
yeah, he talks about he loves doing those
Didn't plan it.
impressions, and he used to do a Ric Flair impression, and they all ended up at the same get together, and then somebody's like, "Dude, come over here, do the thing," like for Ric Flair. So he does his Ric Flair impression for Ric Flair, and then whenever they ran into each other, Flair would always be like, "Hey, get over here, do the thing." So that's kind of how it eventually snowballed into him doing the thing on TV. But so yeah, if you ever look that story up, it's pretty funny.
Interesting. Now,
Yeah.
I liked this match. I think it was the shortest of the Continental Classic so far. It was only like 5 minutes, but it was my favorite Jay Lethal match so far. I thought he looked good, and I mean, there's a point to this. Someone's got to take the pins. So at least if Jay Lethal's going to have a face turn and maybe go on to pick some wins and maybe get a Ring of Honor title, like, I'm not going to watch it, but good for him. He's going to change up his character for a bit. And I like that, where the tournament is kind of changing everyone, not just Moxley and Swerve and Danielson and Andrade and the top 4 people in the show. It's like actually affecting everyone, which I think is really neat.
Cool.
They
Yeah,
did.
no.
Do you guys want to know the matches for Collision and Dynamite?
Yippers.
Yeah.
Okay. The Collision, Andrade versus Claudio. So kind of aping off of their confrontation last week. They're going to have a fight. And of course they have to. Kingston versus Garcia. So Eddie Kingston is just going to get some easy points probably. And then that leaves Brody King and Bryan Danielson.
Ooh.
After last week, that's going to be and Brody just lost. That's going to be a scary match. Danielson might die. And then for Dynamite, these are the last matches for at least like the Blue League, and then they'll get to the semis and all that.
What's his chest gonna look like at the end of that?
I don't want to know. We have so a lot of these are interesting because a lot of this, it's if this person wins, then it's completely flipped. Because a lot of people are like, oh, it's just going to be Swerve and Mox, but it could not be. So we have Roosh versus Swerve. If Roosh beats Swerve, he's in the semifinals because he'll be tied in the 9 points tiers, and he'll have a win over Swerve. And then there's Lethal versus Briscoe, which is just the 2 losers try to get points, which is still interesting because that'll probably have Briscoe win, Lethal lose, and that'll go on to Lethal actually fully splitting from the crew. And then Mox versus White, where if Jay White wins, Mox is out and Jay White is in the. So I was long thinking like, oh, it's just going to be Mox and Swerve, and that kind of makes it uninteresting. But it could go either way for any of these 4 guys. So
yeah, anybody has a good chance that like anybody can play spoiler to edit like Swerve or Mox. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, definitely nothing set in stone yet, which I like. You know, the ambiguity of it all is what makes these tournaments fun. I'm so happy it's not single elimination. Like, God, I hope they do this every year because this has been the most interesting AEW's been in quite some time for me.
I think they said they are. So that's a plus. I hope, again, things to tweak this. I hope next year it's for a world title shot and not for belts.
Yeah, and like you said, get more content out of it. Do more lead up. That was awesome. That was a great idea. Do some qualifiers, a battle royale, a tournament to get into the tournament. That was cool.
I know that's like a lot, but you could just have like a couple matches on Dynamite.
Yeah, what else are you doing? It's easy content. Why not? It's good stories.
You can just pick 30 names out of a hat for a Royal Rumble, but if you see Cody Rhodes conquer Brock Lesnar to get in, you're more interested in Cody Rhodes getting in. If you see Jon Moxley overcome Orange Cassidy, who just beat him at the pay-per-view to get into the tournament, that's pretty impressive. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm into it. We need to get Chandler a job as a booker.
No, I got it. Like, I'm like Vince Russo. I just tell you guys the good ones. I have way more bad ideas.
I mean, we could like start our own little promotion. Start small, like the wrestlers could be like hermit crabs.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
I just don't think they'll want to do business, brother. I think they'll work themselves into a shoot.
It might not work for them.
No, brother. I'm not dropping my shell to that guy. I don't like the look of him. He doesn't have a tan, brother.
He doesn't look like a hot dog, brother.
Yes, sir. Speaking of hot dogs, this match was hot. What happened next?
Dog.
Yeah.
We've got a Continental Classic Gold League match. Little rematch from Portland back when we were there live. Jay White versus Mark Briscoe. Uh, yeah, this match was definitely a couple levels better than the match we saw live. Mark Briscoe looked strong. We got a good, real loud "Dem Boys" chant due to the recent controversy, I'm sure. Um, Mark Briscoe gives a big boot right off the bat to Jay White. Froggy bow to Jay White, but Jay White rolls out of the ring. Uh, Jay White gets tangled up in a bunch of wire, pretty much on purpose to stall a little bit. Jay White dumps Mark Briscoe over the top rope. Briscoe lands awkwardly on the apron. We get some redneck kung fu. Real nice elbow drop on the outside, on the floor from the ring apron on Jay White. Uh, Joe Mark Briscoe hits a razor's edge for a 2 count. Goes for a J driller. The story of the freaking tournament, man. Going for that J driller. Can't do it. Jay White gives him 2 dragon screws. Jay White hits 2 sleeper suplexes on Mark Briscoe. Jay White goes for a Blade Runner, but Briscoe reverses for a suplex. We get a froggy bow from Mark Briscoe, but Jay White puts up his knees. Then we get a Blade Runner to Mark Briscoe for the win. Really quick, fast-paced match. Uh, Definitely kept me on the edge of my seat. Uh, they have really good chemistry. Uh, their styles really blend well. Yeah, I really like that rivalry, and I'm so glad Mark Briscoe. He may not be winning any matches at all, but he's coming out of this looking like $1,000,000. Uh, they're creating a star out of him and Jay Lethal, I feel, uh, without winning a damn match. Garcia, they're not really featuring him a lot on the main 2 shows, so they're not really benefiting him as much. But yeah, Mark Briscoe, it doesn't matter that he's losing. He looks great. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I agree. I love how he got off to a hot start, and his moves just look so beautiful and crisp. I love it when he goes into kung fu mode. That shit's just great, especially the sounds he makes while he does it. Uh, and it's like you said, it's the perfect complement to Jay White's style because he's just got these. Briscoe has this great offense, and then it's like the perfect offense for Jay White to come up with some of his counters because he's such a good counter wrestler. Yeah, that's another one where I think they could probably mine a few more matches out of it too. But yeah, no, it was a good quick match, and it was. I could probably go back and watch it again. It was really good. What do you think, Chandler?
Yeah, I didn't write that many notes for this match because I was just kind of enjoying it. But I feel like my thoughts is that Jay White and Mark Briscoe are really good archetypes of wrestler. And that's not a bad thing. But Mark Briscoe is your perfect everyman. I'm going to do my best and kick your ass and win. And unfortunately, he hasn't won in the Continental Classic, but it's not. He's still coming close in every single one of these. He was as close to beating Moxley as he was to Swerve, as he was to White, as he was to Roosh. So, and those are all 4 top guys or up and coming top guys, whatever you want to look at it. So I think he's looked great in this. And then Jay White's your typical conniving heel, but he's so damn good at it. So I've come away from this loving both of these 2 guys even more. So I'm looking forward to it. I kind of hope Jay White sneaks out a spoiler in the next week. I hope he beats Mox. Who knows? But I think they're going to keep up that spoilers Mox story of winning all 5 matches because I think he's going to be the same thing as Andrade for the Gold League. But we'll get to that with the next match. And then I guess if I had to have anything about that match, I really liked why it's like so small. White slipping out of the J driller, like Claudio getting out of Kingston's power bombs. Like he's like, I know this will beat me if I get into this, so I'm gonna do everything I can to not get into this move. So it's simple, but I liked it.
Yeah, so Chandler, you definitely came around on Jay White, huh?
Oh, I've been a Jay White apologist since this tournament started.
Yeah.
I think I said that the feud sucked, and I don't like stories where they take the belt because it reminds me of the story they did right up to WrestleMania 31 for the Intercontinental title belt. And that was so bad because it was comedy R-Truth, Stardust, which I'm the only human being alive who liked that gimmick while it was airing. So don't take any like it was Stardust. You had
Yeah.
wacky Dean Ambrose, not John Moxley. You had Daniel Bryan, who was still good, but not really like he wasn't where he was a year prior. And the whole story going into that ladder match at 31 was, oh, Teehee, people are stealing the belt, which, I just saw them doing that. And I was like, this is for your world title. So as soon as they got past that and Jay White's just able to wrestle, it's been great. I also don't think I like Juice Robinson. So not seeing him has helped Jay White a lot. But I do miss the Guns. I'd love to see them again.
Yeah,
Just
I
putting that in
agree.
there. Even their little squash matches and promo at the end every time, it was like, yeah, this is fun. They're fun heels. I liked them. So I hope they come back somewhat soon.
Yeah, I started to grow on the Guns around the time they kind of buried FTR and had their funeral and stuff. I was
Mhm.
like, oh, these guys have some charisma, which I think should go back and watch that segment. I'd probably be pretty surprised. I think they're a lot more swole now. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. Um, cool. Yeah, after this, we get a really well put together video package, um, hyping up FTR and Mark Briscoe teaming up against the BCC at Ring of Honor Final Battle. Kind of a weird little thing happening.
It seems like
Why or whatever.
a Jay Briscoe tribute match.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
the angle I was getting because it's FTR and Briscoe, and they're like respected rivals, and they're teaming
Yeah.
up to go against the BCC, who I don't know, they're enough of a bad guy to go against. So I'm not gonna watch it, but cool. If that's the Jay White tribute match, let Mark pin Claudio. But I think that's not gonna hurt anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked all the footage from the dog collar match in the promo too. That was a heck of a match.
Cool. Yeah. Well put together package. Should be cool to figure out who wins that one. Continental Classic, Gold League match, main event of the night. Swerve Strickland coming into it with 9 points, and John Moxley also with 9. Uh, wow, definitely a we can do a couple of these per episode. A holy shit moment. Uh, Swerve was just so nonchalant coming to the ring. Uh, didn't look intimidated or worried. I think that really helped. We got some really good mat wrestling to start. Uh, both guys looking really talented. Uh, we get Swerve doing a DDT to Moxley um, off the corner for 2. We get a stalling pile driver to Swerve for a 2 count. Moxley traps Swerve's leg in the apron and racks him in the balls with the apron skirt. We get a Gotch style pile driver to Swerve for 2 count. It looked really, really nice. We get Swerve uh, giving Moxley the old elbow shots, which I thought was pretty cool. Swerve uh, gives Moxley the house call and goes for the Swerve stomp, but Moxley throws Swerve off the top rope on the outside. Swerve beats the 10 count, gets in the ring. We get Moxley getting an armbar onto Swerve. Swerve was able to make it to the ropes. We get a Swerve stomp to Moxley while Moxley was sitting in a chair. Then we get Swerve stomp to Moxley in the ring for 2.999. I thought that was it. And I am very upset to say that Moxley rolled up Swerve for the win. I thought it was BS. His damn shoulder was up. But I thought about it a little bit. It'll make the rematch when they both make it to the finals 100 times better.
Yeah.
So,
Not that
but
this is coming from a Cody Rhodes fan. So I've been coping for months now. Months of my life I've been coping. But I think that was their intention. I think they're trying to go with Moxley couldn't beat Swerve clean. He got screwed, and that protects Swerve in a way. Because you could say, oh, why didn't he get out? You could be like, oh, well, he had his shoulder up. He didn't think that he'd get counted. So, and they're leading to this Moxley, I'm going to win by any means. And so I think we're going to get to this finals. And they're just setting up Moxley as like, whoever beats him, maybe Swerve probably, will be a star. So I'll agree with you, Dave. I was really mad in the moment because I really loved this match. I thought it was phenomenal. But that little bit was pretty dumb. But at this point, I do think it was intentional because they had like 2 minutes straight of Swerve's like, what is this? I just got screwed. Like he looked like he just got screwed. So I think that was the point. But the match itself, it felt big time. Like not, and this is where I was like, okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, I just didn't know. Okay, this is where I was like, this tournament is the best thing AEW has done since I started watching, even with all the nitpicks I have, even all the ways we think we can improve it. They've done such a good job telling these stories. That's why I was like, you know what? If they've been so good up until now, I'm going to give them a few more weeks to let this play out. I'm fine with it for now. But what did you think, Chad?
Real quick, this stuff is so good. I don't care about MJF or the devil crap. I just don't care. The tournament is that damn good.
We're not done with this episode. We still got to talk about some devil crap, but
yeah.
Cry me a river. What did you think, Chad?
Yeah, so I thought for me, Swerve off the back of that amazing match with Hangman, he thought he was probably going to come out and out violence Mox. And I think Mox switched it up on him a little too. You see, like he went for like BJJ, mat based stuff. I think he was afraid to go toe to toe with him. And Taz highlighting what Mox was doing with like the jiu-jitsu and the judo and stuff. That was just making it for me. Just like Taz, just I don't know. He brought so much authenticity to that. So I don't know. I kind of felt like Mox was kind of ducking Swerve, or at least changing up his thing. But at the end of the day, it was just like it was a really cool clash of styles. I think it was very intentional, and it was a really cool story of like who could impose their will on the other one. And then at the end, I think Mox didn't think he had it, so he had to switch it up and go for the roll up. And yeah, I think when we get that rematch, it's going to be a interesting and different story. But yeah, what do you think, Dave?
Man, yeah, again, really heated in the moment, but I took time to think about the big picture. You know, now that we're doing the podcast, this new lens we have to look at everything through. I took a little time, and the rematch will be so much sweeter, uh, where Swerve will actually get the job done. Yeah, loved it. The whole tournament. Can't wait for it next year. Everything about it. Every participant is going to leave the tournament elevated in their own personal way. So, yeah,
I
nothing but
think
good things.
I would say one singular wrestler may not come out of this elevated, and it's not their fault. I don't think Claudio is going to change at all. I think he's still going to be Claudio, and that's not his fault. I think you just can't dramatically change everyone. That being said, and I've been saying this for a while, still haven't seen the Danielson Claudio match, and that
No,
might,
that's gonna be a banger.
other than Swerve and Mox, that's the match I'm most looking forward to. So I keep on putting that
Are
in
you
there.
guys gonna wince as much as I am the second
yeah.
Danielson takes the uppercut to right to the eye?
Okay, so I think his last match will be against Claudio. So that his last two matches are King and Claudio. Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah, just his eye just bleeding while he's in the big swing, just blood squirting all over.
Never mind. Now I want that. I want that so bad.
Just Gallagher the first row there.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough
There's-
Continental Classic because they went into overrun, but not for the draw. What happened next, Dave?
Oh my golly. Okay, we cut to Hangman Page getting jumped by the Devil Dumpling Gang. He puts up a good fight, but they get the best of him. We find out the devil sitting in the car. He gets out. He gives them the signal to slam Hangman Page on the windshield made of real glass.
Cry me a
Um,
river.
and yeah, that was the end of the episode. We got clearly Wardlow as one of the men. Gotta be Matt Taven and
Mike Bennett.
Mike Bennett. They're clearly two of them. I can't identify the fourth goon, and the devil is not the same person.
So I heard a theory today. You want to hear it?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Adam Cole and MJF. They're doing a Scream because there's two killers in Scream, two devils, which I still don't care. Like any name that's been thrown out, I still don't care. Like
You had Chad with Scream. I
it's
know you, Chad.
Yeah.
He
is that
loves.
you love that movie?
I love those movies.
I've only seen the first one. It's pretty good, but it's probably the only way you could do MJF and Adam Cole and have it be somewhat interesting as the Devils. Like, oh, they're a super heel tag team, but also they're both injured guys. I keep on having to say that, which puts all like people are getting into the story, and I get why they're getting into the story, but the main center of it is injured. So, like, what's that gonna look like? I don't want to see an injured person wrestle. Ooh, spooky. But I don't know. So it's 100. Like I'm willing to start betting money that it's Jack Perry. Like it was real glass. It was the spot that got CM Punk fired. Like this is it, guys. It's Jack Perry. 100% Jack Perry.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I still just I want your fantasy booking to be true and it be the elite.
After that Kenny Omega thing, I don't know.
Yeah. Golly.
I don't know. I'm ready for a reveal, and if anything, they took away a possible name, and it's not like anyone thought it was going to be Adam Page, but it was like, oh, okay, that's like an interesting thought. Like, what if? You know, it's another name no one thought of, and they've only taken Adam Page out of it. So, and I mean, I never seriously entertained the elite theory, but it's also not the elite theory because why would they just turn on Adam Page for seemingly no reason and beat him up and throw him through a car?
Didn't he abandon them in that trios match?
I don't know. I don't know what they think. I don't care. I think I'm with you, Dave. I'm only in it for these classic matches because they're so good. And there's some other good stuff on the show. Like I'm really into Tony Storm right now, but it is these Continental Classic matches that make me excited for the next Dynamite and Collision and make me want to watch them. I almost watched Rampage for the Garcia and Danielson match, and the only reason I couldn't is because I couldn't log into my account the one time I had time to watch Rampage. So, but I mean, it's making me want to watch shows I've never watched, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely onto something with the tournament. They really needed, something like that to get people involved. Um, yeah, I really don't care about anything going on but the tournament right now. And
Yeah, I think coming out
I
of this
want to
tournament.
be.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think coming out
Oh,
of this tournament, they definitely need to work on their like storytelling and multiple storylines and such. Because beyond good wrestling, it is actually getting harder to kind of keep my attention on the show. Like, there's just definitely not enough emotional investment or stakes. Because it's funny when AEW first came out, I was like, "This wrestling is amazing," and I've almost become numb to it now. Like, great wrestling is kind of just what they do, and it takes like Swerve Hangman to really catch my attention now, which is kind of a weird problem to have. It's a good problem to have, but yeah, just give me a little bit of storyline here from here. WWE it up a little.
I mean, I think that's why I like the Tony Storm stuff so much because it's such a distinct character that it's not taking away from the matches, it's adding something different. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna watch a 5-star match with Tony Storm, but I'm gonna watch like a 4.25 really funny match with Tony Storm, which is different and what I would want. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We want to get into highs and lows, or is there anything else we want to add about the night?
I yeah, I think I've said all I got. Overall good episode. Tournament, yay. Devil, boo. Uh,
Mr. Chandler,
yeah.
what you got?
Okay. I'm gonna say my high point. Would say the Swerve and Mox match, but as much as I said I'm gonna let it play out, I still didn't like the finish. But I'm willing to see where it's going, what they do with it. But I wouldn't put that as my low point. Surprisingly, I wouldn't put the Golden Jets as my low point because that's going to be one of my favorite AEW memories from here on out. For my low point, I think I'll have to go with the Devil Dumpling Gang at the end because again, all they did was take away a possibility, and we still don't know who these guys are. We still don't really know what they want. They're just evil and don't like MJF. So I don't know. My high point, probably Tony Storm on commentary. That was the Roderick Strong wheelchair moment from Collision a couple weeks ago, where I was just laughing my ass off the entire time, and it like threw me off for the rest of the show because I loved it so much. So that would be mine.
Cool. All right. Yeah, my high point for me was the main event, but specifically Mox kind of switching up his style to get the win. Like I thought that was kind of interesting where I think he realized he couldn't just out violence Swerve. So he actually wrestled. You saw a lot more like map based wrestling and stuff. I think he kind of showed a chink in his armor, and I think he's actually kind of a scared of Swerve. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of just cool storytelling. Maybe I'm reading into it incorrectly, but that's what I took from it. And low point, I'm going with the Golden Jets promo. I wasn't angry. I was really disappointed in all of them. They could have done better.
Kenny and Chris, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, my two boys from Winnipeg, they're not representing our hometown very good. And like I said, they're supposed to be selling me tickets to $50 pay-per-view in a couple weeks, and on the strength of that, I would not be shelling out money for it.
The match that I think people most want to see at World's End, that we don't even know the two people in it.
Yeah.
But it's the Continental Classic final. That's the match that people don't really care about. MJF and Joe. People don't care about the tag team match, and those are only 3 matches we have so far.
Yeah. Probably Riho and Tony, or is that
And
happening earlier?
probably
Yeah.
Abaddon and Julia.
Oh yeah. Ooh, we're gonna get 2 matches on a pay-per-view again.
I
Dope.
think so. We have 2 full-time women's champions. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
How about you, Dave?
Trios?
Let's see.
Where have the Acclaimed been?
Glass dead. I don't know.
Yeah, real glass. You never
Maybe
know.
they're the Devil Dumpling Gang. Maybe they threw themselves through the glass.
Scissor me, daddy
Right.
devil.
Now I hate that idea. Only now do I hate that.
A high point for the night. I think I actually enjoyed Mark Briscoe specifically. I'm really liking between him and Roosh. Both I love them both, but yeah, Mark Briscoe. I want him to put a rocket on him and to the moon. I think he could probably hold that TNT title or the Continental. No, what is it called?
International.
The international title. I think he could rock that pretty well and be believable, especially now after like what we talked about. He came close to beating Moxley, Swerve, Roosh. Uh, yeah, definitely a future main eventer. And my low point, yeah, I got to give it to Big Billy Starks. Jericho, Kenny, yeah, they didn't really knock it out of the park
I hope they have
on
a
this
promo that
episode.
good next week.
You could tell, could you get the feeling that they both knew in the moment how terrible they were doing?
I think everyone did. I don't know how
Yeah.
you could be out there.
Every- Everyone
Ricky
in
even
the
pointed
room.
it out after one point. He just stopped and went, "Well, that fell flat."
And then Kenny was like,
Jericho was
"Yeah,
like,
it did."
yeah, yeah, dude.
I
Yeah, so bad.
like I said, like I'm fascinated. Look, I haven't watched back anything we've talked about, like not even the Full Gear Death match, which is now one of my favorite matches of all time. I want to watch that promo again. That was so funny. I those silly guys. Those silly guys.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Another dynamite down the hatch. Do we have any tantalizing professional wrestling news that we've come across?
It was a couple weeks ago, but there's Okada's free agency in 2024 because nothing's been said, but it's been a lot of he probably won't sign with New Japan. So what are we thinking, boys? WWE or AEW or New Japan or TNA?
I mean, I feel AEW could be a potential winner due to the fact that there he could probably, you know, wrestle anywhere. He could make that a stipulation in the contract. WWE would never let him do that.
They're being a lot more lenient these days with their part-time deals.
Yeah,
So with
but
like
they
Logan,
haven't. Yeah,
you could have him on like a Logan Paul or Brock Lesnar type deal where Lesnar's been gone since SummerSlam. You could do the same
would
thing with Okada.
would they let Logan Paul go to New Japan?
They let
No.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, that's for the Great Muta, right? The
It was
retirement.
for his retirement tour, but still, that would have never happened in Vince's age. I think Triple H is a smart businessman, but there are like problems with him going to WWE. The biggest one is that he's married to like an actual Japanese celebrity. I don't know her because I don't know that many Japanese celebrities, but I'm taking people's word for it. She's like a big time Japanese actress. So, and she obviously lives in Japan and needs to stay in Japan for her work. So that's going to be a big reason why he would maybe stick with AEW. So he could just come out for a couple months at a time, work a feud or so, and then go back for a bit, or come back. But I think it's interesting just in general that he's gonna be a free agent, or he might be. And where would he go? Supposedly, that's why Shinsuke Nakamura has been getting a push on Raw, is because they want to show Okada that they can book Japanese talent well, which is, to call his most recent run a push is very generous. But if Okada's willed by it, then hell yeah, get him in.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Apparently, Nick Khan and Triple H met with Warner Brother Discovery executives yesterday morning, reported by Dave Meltzer. Um, yeah, some things could be getting weird in
Yeah.
the
You know who
TV
opened that
deal.
door for them, right?
Because talks were dead. Talks were not going anywhere.
CM Punk on Raw.
Punker.
One Bill Phil.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
that's big. This is like, I hope nothing bad happens. Like, this is where the AEW TV deals kind of go into jeopardy. And I think I brought it up a little bit ago where it's like, oh, WWE might be looking to get in on TNT's game, or like Warner Bros. Like TBS TNT. And then if they are, AEW cannot like broadcast on those channels because it's in WWE's contract. So that's I'd be odd if they got bumped by Warner, because that's been so like, they have two titles named after Warner Brothers channels. What would they do? Would they be the Spike Championship and the Destination America Championship?
the FX Championship,
The Hulu Champion, the Fubu Championship, the Voodoo Championship? I can do this all day. The Amazon
BET.
Prime Disney Plus Championship? Got a little Mickey Mouse on it. That's how you fix AEW. Put more Mickey Mouse in there.
But yeah, I'm getting a little nervous about that. I mean, the deal ends in 2 weeks.
Oof.
Well, AEW anyway is set to lose like 34 million this year. Like, that's a lot to lose.
I did read
So
that also.
So they comes time for the devil reveal. They pull it up, the mask off, and it's Shane O'Mac.
Ooh.
I would love that. In the like, what I would love the Golden Jets promo, is why I would love the Shane O'Mac reveal. The name on that contract for the World End title match does say McMahon, but it says Shane McMahon. Oh, I would lose it. That would be the best podcast ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh man.
I love
But
Shane
yeah.
McMahon so much. He is the worst wrestler, but he is so hard. He tries so hard to not be bad. Ugh.
Uh, apparently his son might be becoming part of the TV product, I think I read too.
I think
He's like a college football player now, or
he looks a lot like
yeah,
Vince.
yeah.
I remember seeing something about that. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was a bit of an arrogant thing where he was like, I just want to come in. It's my family's product. I just want to come in and start doing shit. So
Yeah.
um I don't know how valid that is because now WWE is partly owned by TKO, and TKO sounds like they're going to do a lot of big changes to WWE. Like they're already cutting back on house shows. They want to start putting advertisements in the ring, like on the mat,
Ooh.
which I'm fair. Like,
Ooh.
this is like one of those things where, maybe Vince McMahon was right. Vince McMahon thought the wrestling ring was sacred. He didn't want anything on the mat, and he didn't want anything on the ring. The most they would do is whenever Susan G. Komen would come around, they would make the rings pink, and they might have the little breast cancer logo and the Susan G. Komen logo, but that's different. That's a charity, and there might be issues with that. I'm not getting into that, but that is, in all fairness, for a good cause. Or they would do it for Connor's Cure, which is not something they did or something they started, but those are all charities. So the fact that we might get to a world where we're seeing more brand integration,
DraftKings.
I don't want that. I really don't want that, but I think it's just going to be the world we live in.
Unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah, I can't think of any breaking news or interesting tidbits that I have read. Um,
Ooh,
yeah.
okay. I have one more thing. It's about Mr. Pepsi Man, CM Punk. So we can put him in the thumbnail. We talked about him. Apparently, he's been backstage at NXT a lot lately.
Yeah, this is interesting.
So he's been given. I don't say this in that. Oh, he's scheming. I think this is like good CM Punk because you hear about all the young talent who actually liked Punk, and they're like, he would take us out to dinner. He'd buy the women coffee, and he'd always want to like give them pointers about matches. Like that's the good CM Punk we all hear about. And so far, it seems like he's doing that a lot in NXT. Like he was at the pay-per-view. He's been at the last 2 NXT shows, not on screen, but just backstage. So I mean, honestly, if someone like CM Punk is just willing to help out the young up and coming stars backstage, I think that's really cool. I didn't think he'd do that, but cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Like apparently he thinks that there could be a future for him when he hangs him up behind the stage and like kind of eventually maybe assume Shawn Michaels' role.
Could you imagine that in a world where CM Punk is doing creative for WWE? Like, wrestling isn't real, guys. This is all a simulation. Someone like this isn't real.
Hmm. Yeah. Good episode. Not a lot of crazy news going on, but yeah, fun episode, gentlemen. Yeah, if you two don't have anything else to add, everyone out there in YouTube land, like, subscribe, comment. We appreciate your support. We're trying to get to that big 100 subscriber. Is that our first benchmark, Chad?
Yeah.
100.
I threw out the challenge. I will get me a bottle of Da Bomb and torture myself for your viewing pleasure when we hit 100.
I won't, but we'll be watching.
We will. I will eat my entire all 5 packs of Death Nuts in one handful.
Dave, you'll die. I genuinely think
afraid.
you might die. Those are bad.
I'm not afraid at all.
We're gonna have a dead man on the podcast. That'll be great for views.
It'll probably be our last show, though.
Well, we'll just spin it off into something.
Shh. We're just telling Dave that.
Oh yeah, that'll be the last episode of Grapple-Sauce. It'll be a big memoriam. We'll send you off, and then never touch it again.
So yeah, you can put that on the ticker now, Chad. I've I've put my name in the hat. 100 subs. Boom, boom, boom.
I'll come up with
I'll do
something
it.
good. I don't want to chicken
Yeah.
out, so I'll come up with something good.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, good episode. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll be coming at you probably let's see, Tuesday with our Collision review.
Yeah.
And cool.
Yeah.
All right then, everyone out there, have a good one, and thank you for watching the show. Bye.
Peace.
Bye bye.